All right, so we are here at the Grand National Truck Show once again, and we're actually here with Noah Alexander from Classic Cars Studio. Where are you guys out of again?
We're out of St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
So that's a drive.
Yeah, a little bit of a haul.
It's a 2-day drive.
2-day drive.
15 hours a day, and you'll arrive here.
Wow.
Barring
so that's more
mechanical
like a 4-day
problems.
drive
Yes.
for like a normal truck driver.
It's a bit of a drive, yeah.
But you guys brought out 2 trucks, correct? Or did you bring out more than that?
We did bring 2. One's in our booth.
Yeah.
Our shop truck, Tiffany, which we built. It's probably been done for about 8 years now.
Okay.
And then we brought our customers 56 Ford F100.
Yeah, and that's in competition
and that's
for
in
the
competition.
Wombat, or world's most beautiful truck.
There you go. I like the Wombat.
That's what we kind of got coined last year a little bit, because you got the amber, car. But
it took me a second. I was like, what? Oh, yeah, Wombat.
Well, and there was a truck from Australia, or no, New Zealand, that competed last year.
Right.
So they had to change it. Couldn't be America's anymore. It had to be the world. So, and I think the Wombat fits for kind of our truck crowd, a little less serious.
A little less.
The
you
Wombat,
got to make it fun.
Exactly.
The Wombat actually is from the
Oceania
area. So right. So it makes sense. Yeah.
So what did you guys do to prepare maybe that truck for competition on this event?
Well,
was it already kind of set up for this type of a show?
We debuted it in Pomona at the Grand National Roadster Show. We actually brought 2 vehicles to both compete for the Sloniker.
Okay.
We had our 68 Charger, and we had that truck. So we're kind of like almost pushing on a year of showing it. Mm-hmm. So we had built it for a show like this. We built it for an indoor show to be displayed up on stands. So it's all, every square inch of the bottom of it is bodywork. You can't see any welds. It's polished, it's detailed. All the hardware is chrome. It's set up to be looked at.
You have to go that extra mile.
You've got to go that extra mile. And, indoor car shows are different than outdoor car shows. Outdoor car shows, it's more of like, hey, like, it's very high quality, but it's also really cool, and the judges like it. And they'll kind of like say that. But indoor car shows are a different animal, and it comes down to like what type of modifications you have, how many modifications you have, how close is the stock, how far did you go, did you take any risks? Does it look stupid? Did you screw it up did you do the chop right? Did you so there's so many different things that they look at. So they're really totally different types of events. So it's cool for us to be able to do both, in my opinion. And without doing them, you don't really get an idea of how to build the next one if you plan to do more, because you need that feedback. You need the experience. You need the feedback.
Yeah, that's true.
And especially too, I know for this show and for like Amber, the Sloniker, they also take into account the aesthetic of it.
Correct.
It's most beautiful is the name of the award, so it's not 100% just a points kind of system. Right. So was there anything with the design maybe take into account for that to make sure that you were being seen, or is that just what you do in any vehicle anyway?
It's what we're going to do in any vehicle. We've always tried to build stuff that has a timeless look. Like, you want it to look, and that's hard to do. But, I think you can pull it off with everything, on most vehicles except for the wheels. The wheels, can get...
Those can date, I've seen those this hot rod looks good, but I know this was built in 1998.
Right.
They date it, but you can always change those around, so that's a point of flexibility. So I think that the truck we built, it will always... I think it's super cool. I think we need to like our own build, so I love it. It's very cool. It's very clean. It's got a classy look. It's timeless. And I think that allows us the flexibility you can take it to a show like this. You can take an outdoor show. And when it's done with this, Ed, our customer, plans on driving it.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm going to drive them, guys. I'm driving them all.
That's cool.
And I'm like, all right, man. And it drives nice.
So how long does it take? How long does it take from the planning stages to execution? The guy can turn the key for you guys.
We are on a build like that about 2 years.
Yeah.
So, and we are now at a point where we used to do 200 test miles. 200, we're done. Yeah. But we were never done. There was always something that was a little, and we really, no matter what it is, at the end of the day, if we're going to build it for someone to drive, it's still going to be a show quality vehicle. Or if we're going to take it to shows, there's always that process. So we just spend 4 or 5 months just kind of tweaking.
Yeah.
It's rebalancing the wheels, checking the alignment again. Just make we don't want squeaks, we don't want rattles. It has to operate as good as it looks.
Yeah. Right.
Or
And even then, if there's something that's slightly off, then maybe there's going to be rubbing. He's going to damage the bodywork or the paint. You just don't want any issues to pop up later on.
Yeah,
exactly.
With the customer.
And I think knowing that we're going to do that has helped us build better vehicles.
Yeah.
Along the way. But either way, there's it might be a little tuning thing, or it's good.
It's mechanical, and I think that's why I bring it up. Is I think a lot of people don't think like, oh, you guys just wave a wand and it just kind of happens. It's like, no, there's planning that goes into this.
Yeah.
There's research that goes into it.
It's still got to be all functional.
Yeah, right.
It's got to work. No matter how cool it looks,
it
has to run and drive and perform. And, for us, it's like the wheel. So many of these vehicles, like the wheels hit when they turn.
Right.
None of that can be there. It has to be right. It has to be drivable.
Yeah.
It has to run cool. It's got to perform. It's still got to be fun. So, and that's the part you don't see at shows is the guy out and driving it, enjoying it, and ripping a big burnout. And all of our vehicles can do that. And that's the way they're built.
Right.
So.
And
that's how it should be.
Yeah, and also, too, we should also point out that a lot of indoor cars, like you mentioned, never run.
Right.
Or they can't run, so that's really good.
That's a requirement here for sure. That's got to drive in,
yes,
stop,
you got to drive in,
away.
which is good.
Right.
And the other cool thing they take into account, which I really like, is like not just the stance of the vehicle, but the stance of the
driver,
the user.
Yeah.
Because some stuff is built without any regard.
You're like this.
Right. Yeah.
Like can't it just so
right.
you got to look
comfortable
and cool.
Yeah.
It's got to kind of have it all.
Is it going to be something that someone's going to want to drive and have fun and enjoy driving?
Or is everybody going to look at that guy in there and say, man, I think my back would kill after about
Right.
20 minutes.
Yeah,
of that
right.
thing. So,
And we've all done that. Like, we walked by the guy that's got, like, the old rat rod or something. You're like, oh, man, I'd last 15 minutes in that thing. Right. Yeah.
So take us back a little bit. How did you get interested in just cars in general, but trucks, obviously specifically being this is a truck show, but where did all that come about, and how did the shop get started?
So when I grew up in a family of zero car people, but it was like in my blood somehow. I don't know where it came from. But it was not my parents. So I kind of had to find it all myself. So when I was a kid, I was like riding a BMX bike around to car shows I'd see on flyers, and like talking to neighbors that had cars, and then that kind of went away for a while. But I ended up working in the car business, and on accident, actually. So I kind of like stepped in it, and I liked it a lot because I'd always loved cars so much.
Yeah.
And so started the company in 2006. And at that time, we were doing we were mostly buying and selling and doing some light service. But being who we are, it didn't take long before we were doing restorations and building custom cars.
Right.
And I think, we built the shop into a pretty cool thing where we are really a one-stop shop. We do our paint in-house. We do our interiors in-house. We do all of our sheet metal work in-house. We build the entire car there. So for us, it's nice. It's very efficient. If something's messed up, you can send it back to the other department.
Yeah.
Everybody can kind of collaborate and plan
come take a look at
under
it.
one roof.
Yeah.
We're not moving a car across the country to get painted.
Yeah.
Or back the other way to get the interior. So not only does it get done a little more quickly, but I think the end result is like a higher quality product because it was done in one place by a team of like-minded people that want like the same result.
You're not going to get that was the upholsterer or that was the painter.
Correct.
Yeah. That's smart. Yeah.
It's cool, and it's we've been able to grow as a team like that, and I think with the industry really pushing quality like no other every year people's skill set. I think we've got like an industry of rapidly growing and improving skill sets, and everybody benefits from that as long as you're paying attention and trying. So, and I've seen that happen internally with our team as well. So it's been a good last few years for sure.
It's true that you say that because I look back at 20 years ago where things like fitment wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
Like, especially in trucks.
Sure.
Trucks for a while have just been like, hey, whatever it is.
It's a truck.
If it looks cool, it's got a good stance, it's a truck. Cool.
Yeah.
But now you look at guys who are like, oh no, everything's got to be gapped to 1/8 of an inch, or everything's got to be painted, plated, powder coated, whatever.
Right.
And that has brought the level up.
Sure.
Definitely. But also too, you see those guys, like you mentioned, that some of the guys that have that, they can still go out and drive it because it has been protected, it has been worked over, and it's not just something that was kind of thrown together.
And the technologies help a lot of obviously with that to make all those be able to make the parts or make have you guys do any 3D printing, kind of stuff like that, or at least for prototyping?
We love 3D printing. It's a really cool way because
you have a vision for something, you want to be able to create it and see it and make sure it'll work even
And you can also create like a functional, really nice
an actual part, right? Yeah.
So for us, you know, for like Charles and I and Scott, we're like, well, like all these interiors are so custom and over the top, but then I'm like, I know where that part came from. I know where that. It's like you look at the cup holders and like, you know just the grass. Yeah, you see all the little parts, and for me, I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Right.
I want to look at an interior that looks really custom,
and you want to make sure that they all work together. It all flows together. Whereas, if you're sourcing 4 different companies on parts, it may not happen.
It's hard to tie the style in. It like all kind of looks close, and then like the scale might not be totally correct. So we have 4 3D printers at the moment. And we print as much as we can daily, just to like do it and to get better, and also for the vehicles as well. So we're doing a lot of little interior parts and vents and like just little surround pieces. We recently printed an entire center console.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's a pretty big part.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
What car?
Okay, so that was for a 68 Chevelle.
Okay.
And we've done one for a Corvette as well.
Right.
So the bed of the printer is about like, it's a little bit over a foot by a foot.
Yeah.
So you have to break it into 4 pieces.
Do sections.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can print it so it all like,
it
all goes
together.
You can panel bond it. It's not coming apart.
No.
You could body work, but at that point you've created something that's 100% custom.
Yeah.
Most of it printed when you were sleeping at night.
Right.
If there's a design change that needs to be done, you could like take the front part off. You could throw the whole thing away. It's got about $60 of material in it.
Yeah.
And it looks like somebody that you cannot look at that and say, I've seen that in like 10 other like top level cars this summer. Like who makes that?
Yeah.
It's so I think it'll really,
especially for your customer too, of knowing maybe that
nobody else has
no one else has
and
that.
I'm not going to use it in anybody else's build.
Right.
We designed this for you. We made it for you, and it's wholly yours,
exclusive to that vehicle,
which is cool.
That is cool.
I love the 3D printing stuff. We were fairly new to it, but we just went to the 3D printing convention in Los Angeles. It was like 2 or 3 months ago.
Okay.
It's a rapidly changing industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of patents that are up, so there's equipment that's getting cheaper, and
that makes sense.
You can purchase some really cool stuff that's very capable for not that much money.
Yeah. Because they've had you have a lot of your home kind of DIY guys, but maybe the resolution or the speed's not as there, and so maybe
the speed's not there, the resolution's not there, the ability to change materials isn't there.
Okay.
But I don't know.
It's all growing and expanding. So then, you could theoretically then also have a guy that's their home garage build guy that, hey, now I'm going to make some custom parts.
Yeah.
Yep. Make some
throw
custom
on
parts.
My vehicle.
We just did a cup holder. As boring as it sounds, if you don't want to put a cup holder in a custom car, but everybody wants a cup holder.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if you are driving.
We're always like,
right.
Doubled in radio, cup holder. Yeah, all right, well, let's figure something out.
Right.
There has at least been now I've seen, but they're like the cheaper Chinese companies on Amazon that are doing single DIN or DIN and a half CarPlay screens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's to say, hopefully like someone like Alpine or some company will start making those a little bit.
I'm a big fan of like the Bluetooth module under the seat that nobody can
see.
And you're using your phone anyway, but like we'll put a
little magnet mount or something.
Yeah, or
for the
we'll
phone.
put a wireless charger like made into the top of the console.
Yeah.
A good way to do it.
Right.
So
and that way too, like an F100, you can put the dial radio in it, and it doesn't have to work. But
it can light up with the lights.
It can light up. Yeah. And
you can preserve like the cool look of the dash. So I don't know. That's.
Well, that goes back. I mean, I always said that the geniuses of our industry were the guys that didn't have a calculator or a computer.
Sure.
Right? And I said that for years. The guy that just like slide ruler, like, Ed Iskandarian, figuring out cam timing, that kind of stuff. But now I look at it and go, well, guys like Ed Iskandarian couldn't make that cup holder because they don't have the machinery or the technology to do it.
Right.
So we're just evolving more. That's the good thing.
It's just having more tools, more resources to do what your vision.
Right.
And like without that evolution, without other people being able to like witness the evolution that like you've had or your company has or other cars in the industry have, like that, like it doesn't keep moving forward. But I think everybody pays a lot of attention to what other people are doing, and you don't necessarily have to like you could just copy something that's cool. You're like, oh, that's a pretty cool design. I'm going to do that. Or you could say, oh, I'm going to
didn't
do
like
the
this.
next. I'm going to do the next thing. I'm going to do the next version. I'm going to use this.
But I didn't
you know?
like this part of it.
Yeah.
I wanna change
And that
it.
is like my favorite part about the industry. Everybody's pushing each other, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
It's just it's just going to happen. So
okay, let me ask you this: who are some of your influencers, though? Because, like you said, like some of the industry guys that you've seen, who kind of catches your eye now and
like
then?
my
even
favorite.
back to when you first got
Yeah,
into
your
it
BMX
to
bike, I
now
mean, yeah.
to anything.
Yeah, so very early on, in early '90s, Boyd, like he was readily accessible. Jesse James is on TV all the time.
Yeah.
You're like, heck yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
And then like my favorite builder is Troy.
Yeah.
Troy.
I'll
It's like
agree with you.
Yeah,
his stuff is
that's-
incredible,
right.
and like anything that he brings out is just like drop dead gorgeous.
Well,
and then everything he's ever brought out that shows up again somewhere else, you're just like, I can't believe that thing was built like 10 years ago.
Well,
This
that's
is the
what
most-
gets
I was
you,
just
right?
going to mention
Yeah.
that you talk about the timeless things.
Time. It is that it's on.
There's
Yeah.
trends that
Yeah.
are currently happening or may look like a new
Yeah.
trend, and you go back and
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, he did it 25 years ago,
Well,
or he. Part of
Some
it, it's-
people really live like a mark on the industry, and
Yeah.
and it's a good thing, and
Well,
trendsetters are cool.
Well, even the third gen Camaro that he brought out this year, Jason, you told me about that 10 years ago when you went out to
Yeah, it
Troy's
was
shop
in bare
10 years
metal.
ago.
Yeah,
10
Right?
years ago.
Yeah.
there's like pictures coming out here and there, like,
And
is that-
but then
Where is
I
it?
was like,
It's like
we were talking to him at the Roadster show this year, and I was saying, because he was showing us the pictures, they just painted it,
Yeah.
just started doing the brakes and all that, and it's like, okay, it's actually probably maybe good that you
Waited
took
that
this long,
right?
or waited this long
Yeah.
to start bringing it out, because that generation Camaro 10 years ago,
They would have laughed at
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
It's hard- it's a
cared
hard
or
vehicle,
wanted.
yeah.
Right.
Now those
Right.
are
Yeah.
becoming more popular.
Sure.
So
Crazy.
yeah,
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool you got the G bodies, people are building all
Yeah.
those, Fox
Later
body
on.
stuff,
we're fans of OBS trucks.
OBS
Obviously.
trucks,
Right.
it's like,
Right.
Yeah.
so it's good to see that stuff. But, like you could predict what's going to be popular.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's
Yeah.
what you had when you were a kid. It's what
What was cool in high
what you
school.
didn't have. It's
Yeah.
what your dad had. It's what but
Right.
you can see it. And the other thing that's like somewhat comforting, nothing's going to disappear overnight. There's changes happening
Yeah.
always, but it's slow, and you're
Yeah.
like, I can kind of see this losing popularity, or that kind
This
of
has kind
build
of peaked or gotten out of people's pockets.
We've seen that
Yeah.
so many times. Like stuff just starts kind of going away, and
Right.
But then you just got to keep evolving, keep moving.
got to
and
keep evolving, keep moving.
doing
But
it.
that's like if everybody was building the same stuff and it just got nicer and nicer, that wouldn't be that interesting. But
Right.
it's changing, and the quality keeps going up. So it's very motivating.
Well, and I also like too the younger crowd seems to already be tying on to that because they didn't have the old, and pardon my French, they didn't have the old shit boxes that we built when we were kids. They're already starting out with a decent vehicle and upgrading that decent vehicle. So I think we're going to see a technology curve really ramp up fast.
I think it's already kind of started to happen,
Yeah.
like we talked about with the 3D printing
Yeah.
stuff and that being able. But it's just going to keep kind of.
I do
growing that way.
truly miss the days of like installing your own really cool car stereo,
Right.
And like swapping and trading and buying and trying to put something together that sounded good,
Yeah.
and then just like driving around for hours listening to and now every car is a good sounding
Right,
stereo
right,
for
yeah.
the most part. And
Yeah.
there's still a little bit there, but there were stereo shops everywhere, and
Yeah.
people just had big obnoxious stuff, and it was fun. Like it was
Yeah.
it was
No,
like
and that's what we
I
always
enjoyed
gotta
that
remember
so
to-
much. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Anyway, so
keeping this fun.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
We all
Keep it
got
fun.
into this to have fun
Right.
with it, and we've created businesses, created lives around it, but still got to kind of remember that. So
Well,
I know we're going to talk to some of your guys,
Yeah.
some of the shop managers on this. So is there anything you want to say before we do that? Not necessarily about them, but just about the show in general or about your business.
Yeah, we're happy to be here out at the show. It's cool. It's the second year, so we hope to see it, continue to grow.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you didn't go to the first year and haven't been here this year, it's definitely something that's worth coming out to see. The weather's good, the quality's nice, and the show promoters do a wonderful job as always.
And it's cool seeing this level of a show built around the truck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what our background is,
Right.
and that's what we enjoy seeing.
Well, we're
so.
super happy to see somebody like yourself come out from St. Louis.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like
it's not a short trip.
Yeah, right. So a lot of
here.
guys from this show, we see a lot of guys from Northern California, from
Right.
Arizona,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So it's good to see you guys like
Yeah.
yourselves.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. And good luck.
We'll get your next victim,
Perfect.
right?
Thank you. I'm going to drag someone up there.
So if you're still rocking your stock stereo system, you need some help. And you need to go to Powerbase and check out their OEM direct fit line of speakers. Basically a plug-and-play operation on any newer Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Nissan, you name it. And I actually got a full set in my Toyota 4Runner. It sounds amazing, especially considering you're basically just replacing the factory speakers. So go check them out at powerbaseusa.com. Use the code AUTOREV24 and you can get 10% off anything on the site, including these cool little Bluetooth speakers. This one right here is the Sound Cube. Clip it on your backpack, take it down to the beach. And what's really cool is this split speaker. So you can put one in the kitchen, one in the backyard at a party. Everyone's having a good time listening to the same music. Basically got like full stereo, almost surround sound system in this little package. So if you use the code AUTOREV24, you can get 10% off. So go check them out and take a listen. So you've been following along on Auto Revolution. You know that we're a big fan of Chevy OBS trucks. And Beltec Suspension has been around for 40 years, and they were one of the first innovators of the sport truck movement back in the 80s. And we've been lucky with them to partner on a few different projects, from the OBS Clash documentary series to the Tahoe Unlimited, and even a few things we've got up our sleeves coming out later this year. What's really cool is they've partnered with us to offer free shipping if you use the code AUTOREVOLUTION24 at beltec.com. So whether it's a lowering kit on your Chevy or a lift kit on your Bronco or your Jeep, and if you use the code AUTOREVOLUTION24 at beltec.com, you're going to get free shipping. Now back to the show. Jason?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your son's the one with the red.
OBS truck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We talked to him a
definitely.
lot yesterday, or at SEMA, so
Yeah.
that's pretty fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely bring that up.
All right, good deal.
Then you're the shop manager? Or
Shop
was it-
manager,
Shop
yeah.
manager.
Okay. All right, cool.
So now we're back with Charles, the shop manager
Yeah.
from Classic Car Studio out here. And actually, maybe the first thing that I want to ask, this wheel stands on the
Oh,
truck.
yeah.
On the other side.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that with some people. And are those actual tires that were they molded in, or is that all full like billet piece?
No,
Start to
so
finish?
it's funny you ask about that. I've had guys come by and go, "Did you 3D print this? What,
Right.
Yeah,
what
no,
the,
that's what we.
Yeah,
like,
we're
what
all-
are we looking at here?"
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and one guy's like, I think I'm on acid or something. What's going on? I don't. You know,
Right.
so it's been fun, like listening
Yeah.
to people. But in all reality, it's a lot more simple than you really think. I mean, we had an idea, and basically, I called Ed, our customer. I said, "Hey, I got to buy another set of wheels for 2 wheels,
Yeah.
and then I got to buy 2 new tires." And he
Okay.
goes, "Okay, what are we
Yeah,
doing here?" And I
what's
said, "We're gonna cut these up. We're gonna make them into wheel displays, and show off the brakes
Yeah.
and the wheel wells." And he goes, "I'm in, man. Just do it." So
Okay.
Scott and I, our fabricator, we started talking about it, and we basically as simple as put the wheel on a bandsaw, cut the section out right, and then we got to the tires, and we're like, "Man, what do we do?" Obviously they're not going to hold air, so
Yeah, exactly.
we cut the tires, and then I just got on Amazon and I found closed cell expandable
No
foam.
way.
Yeah,
Come
so like
on.
think about like the race
Yeah.
ramp blocks, that
Yeah.
everybody has.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Yes.
He's got some background.
so
on that.
okay,
That's,
so
yeah.
those are filled with foam.
Yes.
And we were talking about it, I'm like, there's no reason why this won't hold.
Right. It's true.
So what we did was, if you look at the back side of that wheel, there's a bolt that goes down through the wheel and pushes on the tire, and that kind of
To
helps.
give it some rigidity.
Rigidity there.
Yeah.
And then we've got little tabs up at the top to kind of keep the tire from bowing out when you filled it with foam.
Okay.
And then we poured the foam in, sanded it off, and then we body worked where the foam and the
Yeah.
wheel met,
Yeah. That makes sense.
and
right.
then painted them.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's not much to it. It
Really?
just took a little creativity and
You didn't even put like
ingenuity.
there's not a bulkhead in there or anything that just
Not
that
really.
bolt is really
Yeah.
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And it holds really well, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it was fun to do, and I told our
Yeah,
customer,
had
I'm
an
like,
idea
arts
just-
and crafts.
Just run with it.
yeah, and it's been, I like the comments, like people walking by and it trips them up a little bit. They're like, that's really cool. I'm jealous I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Scott and I, we swear that we've seen them somewhere. I think somebody's done
I've
this
never
before.
seen him
thought-
with.
no.
I've never seen him with a tire.
Yeah.
I've seen people take like billet wheels and just maybe it's like a certain spoke wheel,
Right.
like, that has like the thicker spoke, and so they
Yeah.
just cut out the rest and built the spoke and the maybe part of the hoop into a stand.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've never seen it with
We
the
just
tire.
thought the tire would be kind of cool to
I think
throw
the
in.
tire thing I've seen like at a tire shop where they show you like where the
Yeah,
wear
not-
of the tire's wrong.
Yeah, I
But it
have
was,
seen those.
But
yeah.
it was made out of like
It's-
fiberglass.
it's
It wasn't
or
like
plastic
that.
or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It's
Yeah.
something
and
like
it's just
that.
a display,
It's just-
not
yeah,
on an
it's not
actual
like that.
vehicle.
And being the goofball OCD weirdos that we are,
Right.
we sanded even the numbers and letters and all the specs, everything's sanded off the sidewalls of those tires if you
Sure.
go look at it.
all the little nubs, all
And
the
it-
little.
and even on the
mold
other
marks.
side, the reason we did that is because the real wheels and tires have everything sanded smooth off the sidewalls
Right.
of the tires. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I guess we got to do that on these stands
You
too,
do.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
Otherwise it's going to look a little
Right.
off.
but yeah, so it was fun. I mean, and that's what, at the end of the day, we like to have fun,
Yes.
you know, trip people up a little bit when we can and just have a good time.
Yeah.
No, and that's what's always cool. I personally like seeing those kinds of things of like the little details or a little trick or little knob or something that was a little different that catches your eye that you gotta look for, because then you know someone was paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, someone was putting some effort and some creativity in.
Okay, so what's another Easter egg on that truck?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of something else that really.
Or you can make something up. I mean, you know, who knows?
No, there's not really. I mean, I think some of the Easter eggs are things that people just don't know the history of, which is like the Fat Jack history there.
Right.
And like the bed strips that are in that bed. You know, I don't know if Fat Jack himself machined them, but I know they were done in his shop, you know. And so to me, that's the Easter eggs on the truck, are like the little pieces that were done in Fat Jack's shop.
So
back up.
I was
back
going to
up,
say, give us a little bit of the background then on the
Yeah.
truck and the history, the lineage of it, if
Yeah.
you will.
So it all kind of started because our customer that owns that truck, he owns the yellow Fat Jack 56 Ford.
Okay.
And that truck was the first truck that was on the cover of Hot Rod magazine.
Right.
So, you know, it's an iconic build, and you know, our customer's in love with that truck. Well, his buddy Danny was having this black 56 Ford truck built at Fat Jack's upon his passing.
Yeah.
You know, so that truck was just sitting there in the shop, and Danny called our customer and said, "Hey, if you're interested in this truck, I know you have the yellow truck. Maybe you would want this truck."
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That was cool.
We were going out to SEMA, so we were like, "Hey, we're going to be close to LA. Let's just fly to LA."
Yeah.
We look at the truck, right? So we look at it, and John Robinson, Fat Jack's son, showed us around, and then we called our customer. We're like, "Yeah, this thing's pretty cool, man," because there's a lot of things there that Jack and his guys did that are really cool, you know, and it had the stance and just had that hot rod attitude, if you will.
Yeah.
It wasn't just an F100. You're looking to make sure that, this would be good for a project. You're looking at what was already done.
Yeah.
And there's some uniqueness to it.
Yeah, and the other cool part of that too is that truck was from Bakersfield, California, and our customer was from Bakersfield as
that's
well.
kinda cool too.
And he remembered that truck on a farm. You know, he knew. It was
he knew it
He
exactly.
knew the truck,
Yeah.
and he knew it was an original big back window truck.
Okay.
And I mean, the craziest thing on that thing, everything is original sheet metal on it. So even the bed sides and the tailgate. So it was
That's pretty rare.
It wasn't beat to death. You know.
Right.
So I thought that was really rare for us to see that. Like normally in the Midwest, if we see a pickup truck, it's been
trashed.
used.
Yeah.
You know, you use the cab. You got to buy everything else. But that's all original sheet metal.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we took it from there and just like we ran with it. We thought it was like a great project and tried to pay tribute to Fat Jack. You know, keeping some of the things he did, but then put our own little twist on it too.
Yeah, no, that's great.
know.
That's great. No, that's really cool. And Fat Jack from this area.
Yeah,
I mean, literally,
exactly.
we're pretty close to where his shop was at.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's super cool.
So that's
Well,
back
full
to the whole
circle.
Easter,
Yeah,
Easter
exactly.
egg thing. You know,
Yeah.
that was that's to me that's the Easter egg.
That's the Easter egg of it, yeah.
Because like
Some
there's
the history of it.
and there's like the front drive system is like a belt cog style system, and it's like if you look at it, it's really unique, and that's something that Fat Jack was doing as well. We kind of finished it up, and so there's some cool parts on there.
No, it's cool that you kept a lot of that history part of it to make it something special.
Yeah, it's like trying to pay respect to somebody that was a well-known builder, well-respected builder.
Right, right. Now, I want to talk about something a little different because you say well-respected builder. I met your son last year at the SEMA show in a really nice OBS truck.
Yep. Yep.
Okay? And I think I maybe kind of rubbed him the wrong way because when he came up and said, I built this truck with my dad, and I said, so did you watch?
Yeah.
And he fired back a lot of stuff back to me.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's good. So it's funny. So I have two boys, okay, and I've told both my boys. I said I'll build a truck with each of you. Okay?
Fun.
There's a couple rules. First rule is if I'm at the shop working on it, you're going to be there too, or else I'm not working on it.
Yeah.
Second rule is if you don't contribute any money, I don't contribute any money.
These all sound very fair to me.
And the third rule is you can never sell the truck.
Good.
So they do own their own trucks, but my name is on the title with them. And I'm just like,
so then you're not going to sign off on it.
Yeah,
right. And I said, I said the reason I'm doing that is because almost on a weekly basis, we have a grown man come into our shop.
Yep.
And they want to recreate what they had. And I said, I'm going to save you from this. I said, because life's going to get in the way.
Yeah.
You're going to get married or you're going to have a kid or there's going to be something that comes up and you're like, your girlfriend or wife's going to look at that truck and go,
that's got to go.
we need a house.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
we need an Escalade. Or we need, I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'm like,
You can't fit. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't fit the kids in there.
Yeah,
Right.
so,
that's all.
you know, but the truth of the matter is, like, you know, my son Connor that owns the Red OBS, he's in college now. and
Okay.
He's just a freshman, but he's all about the automotive industry.
Good.
He spent all of his summers through high school working at the shop. He's done body paint work, and then this past summer he did fab work with Scott. He loves all that, but now he's going to business college so he can come back and work with us and kind of help
Good.
with the whole shop.
Yeah, why not?
And but he did do a lot of the work on that truck.
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
know,
he let me
it's-
know.
Yeah.
That's good.
That was good.
And now my 14-year-old son, he's got an OBS Tahoe that's going to
fun.
It'll be out next year.
Two-door or four-door?
Two-door Tahoe.
Okay.
It'll
I
be
got
out.
a four-door Tahoe.
Yep.
It was outside yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
the four-door Tahoes.
Yeah.
Two
was
doors
that,
are
was that the
harder.
Black Limited that was out
Yes.
there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I had one of those brand new actually.
Oh, really?
Back
Yeah.
in the day. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
I worked at a Chevy dealership when I bought one of
That's
those.
what's funny is because we looked up a lot of that, the background on that, you know, doing the video series, and they made 8,500 of them.
Yep.
And it's funny how many people we've met that, I had one, or my buddy had one,
Yeah.
or you see them.
And how many I see on a daily? Well, I see at least one a week.
Right.
Because you'd figure
8,500.
8,500 Tahoes from 25 years ago.
Right.
You'd figure they'd
And
be
that's
gone,
spread out
right?
throughout the
And
country.
throughout the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
I
they're-
see one a week at least.
Yeah, they're still around and they're in pretty good shape
Yeah.
most of the time. The front seats normally have the
That's-
abuse, right? You
Yeah.
know?
The interior I'm on, replaced a couple things. The bottom of the front seat, that's been replaced,
Yeah.
but everything else is in good
Yeah.
shape. Yeah.
So my older son that's in college now, he was trying to make some extra money, so he bought two of those Tahoe Limiteds, and he'd drive them around a little bit and then flipped them.
Well, cool.
And then, I was happy that he had some appreciation for them, you
Yeah.
know, and drove them around. But so we're
But he's
kind
got
of
a two-door Tahoe now.
So my younger son's got the
Oh, the younger
two-door.
son. That's right.
Yeah, he's got the two-door Tahoe, and it's funny because we've got a lot of the stuff done on it, and my older son's like, wait a minute, why does Logan have bare brakes?
It's now-
right.
And why does he
now I
have,
get the upgrades.
he's got
Yeah.
coilovers.
Yeah.
I don't have coilovers,
Yeah.
Dad.
Pegs.
And he's like, what's going on? I go, hey, you know, it's like we
the
can't do the
second
same.
build's always usually
Right,
better.
yeah.
right.
And I-
Hey, no, that's what we say. Do you like your truck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, you're in love with your truck, right? Well, yeah. I go, then that's good. I said,
what it is.
Yeah,
you're
this
set
is what
up.
he's wanting to do.
Yeah,
on it.
this is his style, what he wants to do.
All right.
And I said, you have a great platform, right? So I said, if you want to do more later to that truck,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you've got great body and paint, great
Yeah.
interior, the
Yeah.
frame's all
You
painted.
can put the brakes
Yeah,
on. You
yeah,
can
Put
do
the
a
brakes
different
on.
suspension.
Right.
And that truck, you know, the red OBS truck, it was a V6 work truck.
Yeah.
And we put a Ramjet engine actually in it,
Right.
but because a customer gave him an engine, one of our customers gave it
Okay.
to
That's
him.
cool.
So
Yeah.
we pulled the Ramjet off, and then we put the stock injection on.
Right.
And then he like searched the internet high and dry and found a Whipple supercharger, like
Okay.
an old
The
original.
old school ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he put a Whipple supercharger on it.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, hey, I think that's more cool really than an LS swap. Because
It
you-
is.
You
Well,
put a
no,
lot of
and
thought
Because it's
into
rare
it,
as
you know?
hell. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different. And
Yeah.
you remember back in the 90s when Whipple kind of got their start
Yeah.
with
That's
putting-
where they got it
on
from.
boats, but also on those trucks. And
Yeah.
that was pretty much the only supercharger, I
Yeah.
think, maybe for those trucks back in the day.
well,
or at least the most popular one.
Most
maybe.
popular,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and also too is because a lot of the younger guys that are now our age, you know,
Right.
they that was the latest and greatest. You
That-
know?
yeah, they
So,
recognize that,
Yeah,
so.
I mean,
just-
they didn't make it much power back then, but
No.
it still just got to say I got a supercharged truck.
Supercharged, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to teach both my boys the same philosophy we have at the shop, which is you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You know, do what you like, and you can push things in whatever direction you want, and just own what you're doing, you know, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Very cool. So I say you only had two sons, so
Yeah.
there's
Two
not
trucks,
many-
yeah.
Two trucks.
Yeah.
Two trucks
Anything
there.
that you're working on yourself?
Yeah, actually, I
outside of the shop
just
or
I
shop?
just bought it's a 1952 Chevy. It's a big dump truck actually.
Oh, cool.
But I just wanted the cab.
Yeah.
So 52 Chevy pickup truck, but one of the guys that works for us in the body shop, has a big farm, and it was on his family farm since 1976.
Okay.
So it's a rust-free grain truck that they only use once a year to haul grain in harvest season. So it's
got to be in good shape.
It's 100% rust-free.
Yeah,
so
rad.
I told my wife, I go, here's the deal. I mean, they all have cars right now. My wife's got a custom Volkswagen Beetle I built her.
Okay.
So they all have stuff. I said, I need something.
Your turn.
Your turn. Now I need something.
I bought this truck just for the cab, and then, after my son's OBS Tahoe's done, then I'll build that. And then we'll all kind of have something. But
yeah.
We're a car family,
That's good.
No, and that's cool. That's, you're able to pass that down and
and I think for the
that.
dynamic of what I do for a living, and it's also my hobby and passion,
Right.
like, everybody's got to kind of be involved to some degree because,
otherwise maybe not appreciate
it. Would, it'd be tough, right?
What you're doing and what the 8 hours.
But they travel with me. My wife and my younger son were with me at Triple Crown, and they've been to SEMA and obviously go around. So they have a good time. So that makes it fun for me too.
Good. No, that's important because that's the other thing too. Like, you got, even if your wife's not into it, it's like, look, this is kind of what I want to do, and you don't want to do, and you don't want to do that.
It really becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys feel the same way.
Thing.
No,
that's. It is,
You kind of have to. If you're going to be immersed in that as much, it's just part of who you are.
It is. Yep.
Here's some of the
I
questions.
have no idea what they just told you about me, but we'll
iron
through it. I know, that's what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
From what I heard, he told you the last special questions. He just told us, be nice to Scott.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
gotta mess with you a little bit.
Yeah, at our shop, our little rules are: don't bring your feelings to work, and if you can't give shit or take shit, this may not be the place for you.
That's a
So
very.
that's
good.
why I have no idea what got put in the seat that I just sat on. You know what I'm saying?
It's part of the deal. Part of the deal.
And that's probably part of the messing with you is that planted in your head.
Yes.
But then nothing.
So I knew how this was going to break down. Noah went first. He's going to tell his story, and then he's going to spin on that story. So she was talking to me. She says, well, what do you do there? And I take out the trash. She says, oh, okay, that's cool. And then when he come over, and he's like, oh, they're ready for you. I souped you up. I'm like, this is what I mean by now. I got to go take the trash out.
But all that was all mind games.
Yes.
Because honestly,
we were asking about his kid's truck.
We were asking about the OBS truck, about Fat Jack, and the history, the lineage of that. So maybe we'll dive in on starting with the F100 specifically on the fabrication side. What was there? I know it was already an existing kind of build that had a lot of work done to it. When you guys got a hold of it, and what was the collaboration between you guys, the customer, or just the vision to bring it to what it is right now?
That's a funny question because that truck was actually a little bit of a difficult thing there because Fat Jack has a history and he created his brand.
Right.
Yeah, his unique style.
And we're taking that over for our customer that we're already building a real high level car for right now. We're balls deep in that. And he goes, I'm throwing this one in the mix too. Cool. What's our plan? He goes, well, I kind of want to keep it Fat Jack.
Yeah.
But I also wanted you guys.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like, then there's the challenge.
I'm like, I like challenges, but this is freaking hard, right?
Yeah.
I had to go in the computer and I started looking up who Fat Jack was. I just knew him as the surface, right?
Okay,
Fat Jack, the hot rod builder. Yeah, I've heard of him. But now I had to go look at all his shit and what he's built and different things and what can I grab or what do I have to keep on that truck that he's already done.
Yeah.
That signature Fat Jack. So what we came up with was we're going to do like the Fat Jack wheels that are on it, but bigger modern style because we're today's
Yes.
You got to modernize.
I agree
it
that, yes.
Right, so that's
fit
what we do is modern day building. So we kept the same style wheel, we just found them bigger. So we put 20s and 19s on there instead of 15.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We changed out all the suspension and everything, but one thing now in 56 Fords that we always do is we move the wheels forward about 3 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to bounce.
He doesn't. What he does is fills in the back of the fender and makes the wheel well opening
to center.
small.
That way is the center.
Go ahead. You got a lot on your mind.
Or you take the passenger detail off and you swap it because it fills the back.
Right.
A lot of those guys did that here on the West Coast.
Right.
Where they would, like, basically the right side would fill that on the left side.
Change that
Yeah,
radius.
yeah.
And that's the style of stuff he
Yeah.
did. So that's what we did on that truck. He
Okay.
had already had the chassis mocked up.
Right.
And he had a front straight axle in there.
Yeah.
Well, our customer's going to drive the shit out of this. So
Yeah, you don't
straight
want that.
axle's not very driver friendly. We want power steering, this and that.
Right.
So we swapped it over to an independent front end. But we didn't move the axle forward as much as I wanted to.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We left it where he had it. That was in structure. No, that's foundation of
what his style
what he was doing.
Right.
So
you're kind of continuing on what he did, but modernizing
exactly.
it as well.
So then from there we went with our fit and finish, our gapping, our that, our interior, and this and then it turned out to be. I keep looking over there at it. You guys can't see over there. I'm sorry.
It still makes sense.
Yeah,
they're like, what's this guy keep
we'll
looking at?
We'll pop photos up of it.
What it come out to be is a super high-end fit and finish, old school type of hot rod. It's not a traditional hot rod by no means because of the bigger wheels and the four-wheel disc brakes, but it's an old school type of hot rod that can be driven every day. The thing drives great. It looks great. And then it's hot rod black. What's more hot rod than black? Right?
Right. And wouldn't all of us want exactly what you just described?
Right.
I mean, all of us want to, perfectly
classic
running classic hot rod.
Hop in and drive it every single day.
So mission
That's what it's all
accomplished.
about.
So I'm a broke guy. They call starving artist. Now I personally know what that means.
Oh, believe me.
So I luckily get to do artwork for my job.
Right.
So when we get these wealthy customers that can afford to do ultra high end stuff, now I pour my all into it and build this thing the way I would want it.
Then you and you guys as a shop have established yourselves of that people will seek out your style, your artistic ability, because they want what you've already done, or they want what your vision is for it versus just somebody that can turn a wrench necessarily. So give us a little bit of background on you personally and how you got into the industry and what vehicles you've had.
It started out with me. I was a car dude from birth. Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
And model car building. I built model cars to a level that was unbelievable, I guess I should say, back then for a little kid. My uncle was building model cars, and I'm looking at him, and I'm building my model car, and we're doing plug wires and little dipstick tubes, different details. And he's like, "Hey, I read in the newspaper
like some cloth fishing line for those plug wires."
Exactly, little bitty wires. So it's like the local place down the street's having a model car show. I want you to take your model car. And I'm like, "Really, mine?" He goes, "Yeah, I think you should take it." So when we went there, and it was like age groups on the table, and when I set my model car on the table in my age group, the guy come over here, no. You can't. I mean, this is for the guys that built the car. I'm like, I built that car. I'm like a little kid, I'm getting teary. I had to go get my uncle and say,
"Hey, I did this."
He's saying I can't put my car down here, and then my uncle had to convince him that this kid built that car.
Right.
And so I think it right there is where it was all starting.
You kind of like, okay, I got some talent. Yeah.
So then it went from there into my mini trucks. I was a mini trucker.
Okay.
Right? Nice. So mini trucks ties me to fabrication. Back in the day in hot rodding, if I had a 69 Camaro, there was a catalog for all your 69 Camaro parts.
Yes.
Right? Not picking on Camaro guys,
I know, right?
But it's just an example that everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
All right. In the mini truck world, if you got a Nissan 720, there was no catalog for nothing.
Right.
But if you want it to be
and you're
badass,
looking at a catalog for a Porsche or a Volkswagen and seeing what might fit on yours.
Right. Yeah. So, we're going to take these C10 control arms and put them on my Nissan so that I can put this airbag. Back in the day, I'm old now. They only sold an airbag, nothing else.
It wasn't a full kit.
So you had to figure out how to make all of that work. Yeah. So I had bagged out 720 way back in the day, and that all started where I'm at now. I fabricate everything.
I was going to say, and in the mini truck world, because that's where both of us kind of came up through a little bit as well, is there's always been that badge of honor of you built it, or you did it in your garage, or you did it yourself. It was
the built not bought
fabricated. The built not bought, and so that came out of having the necessity to need to do it because nothing was available for what you wanted. And then you've been able to carry that throughout, the rest of the styles of the builds.
You never leave that, right?
Yeah.
My brother will call me out on it. I'll be looking at a Harley, and I'm looking at it all close, and he goes, "What are you getting ready to try to make?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey. When you look at this stuff and you break it down, it's all in shapes. It's circles, squares, or triangles, right?
Yeah.
And you just figure out what shapes are they using to make this, and then you go back and you start making your own, and I'm building my own like fat tire kits for choppers back in the day when it was the chopper world.
Yeah.
You just ride that wave of fads, then you start fabbing everything to fit that fad.
Well, that is a very good way of looking at that. I like how you're breaking that down into it's because I was having a conversation with a gentleman earlier here at the show, and he was talking about his younger, grandson building a car, and he wants to give him some just self-confidence. And like, it's the thing of, hey, I did this, I completed it, I can do anything. And I think that a lot of younger people don't see that out of the car world.
Right.
Because I look at it as, well, if I can build a car, I can build a house, I can build this building, or I can,
Yeah, it's giving you a certain set of skills,
right,
and creativity and patience and all that.
But having you to break that back down into that elementary type thing of just like, look, guys, these are just shapes. We can make whatever we want. It's just shapes. Right?
That's all it is. Shapes and cut. You're cutting something into that shape that fits
and
that
then putting
hole.
it together with another shape to make it. Yeah.
And even too, if you have to refine that shape down so it fits a little bit better, then that's what you do. But your little
and that's what comes with the experience and the talent later on to get it that refined to it.
So and then I carried that on through the rest of my life, and I did 20 years in the construction field, and I built cars at my house, in my garage, my stuff.
Yeah.
Graduated from the mini trucks to the C10 world. I'm a C10 guy by no means.
Oh, good.
I was C10 when C10 wasn't cool.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, we
I got a pile of them. And an old guy told me, he goes, what are you going to do? I was driving a two-wheel drive 72 Blazer, white with a blue top. That was my daily driver, lowered down, kitted up. I'm ruining this thing.
Right.
And the old guy says, what are you going to do with that? That for sale? I'm like, no, it's not for sale. It's my driver. And he goes, I like that. He goes, don't sell that. He goes, you may not know this. He goes, but that's the 32 Ford of tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm like, I shut the door and I drove off. I'm like, what the hell is this old guy talking about? 32 Ford of tomorrow.
Right.
And
he knows what he's talking about.
I realized that, now that I'm the old guy, all the old guys had the street rods, and I looked up to all of them, and I looked at them street rods of what they were doing, and I tried to make my mini trucks look like street rods.
Yep.
And then now, all the old guys are in C10s, and here we are at the Grand National
now we're the
Truck
old guys.
Show, right?
Yeah.
The Grand National Truck Show, right?
Yeah.
It's taken over the world. We are the new street rod dudes with our trucks.
It's true.
Absolutely. And that's, and we've kind of done the C10 stuff, but we're honing in on the OBS, the sport truck crowd, because that's kind of the next.
But still,
maybe the next generation.
We had 32 Fords, but there's also 33 Fords, and there's Chevys, and there's sedans. So that carries into that rest of that line. You know? Back when I was starting trucks, I used to stand on square body doors and hoods and look over the fence.
That's what I've been telling
see if there's
people.
any 72 parts. Over there. Now everybody thinks a square body's a new diamond ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm still partial to the 67, 72.
Me too.
My wife loves square body stuff. So I have a big fleet of junkers, but they're my junkers and I love them.
Good.
And the problem with my life is my wife is a car person as deep as I am. And she's got her own vision, and that's the craziest thing. We both can see a car half buried in the mud, rotted away,
and see
we
the vision
see it as a beautiful hot rod. So she's dragging her shit home, I'm dragging my shit home, and we got more shit than we know what to do with, but we're happy.
You guys got space is what you have.
They're piled up.
Yeah, wow.
But it's a good life, the truck life.
That's Scott.
Everything hot rod. But so, and then going back to the shop, but back to my life, doing construction every day, building cars in the evenings. People are saying, you need to open your own shop, you need to open your own shop. And I was so scared. It takes a big set of nuts to do that, and I still haven't done it. And then I got a job offer, and I was like, man, I don't know. This is my hobby. If I turn my hobby into a career.
It's a tough
That's a tough deal.
Step or a tough balance to look at.
The guy that was begging me to go, I was like, dude, I do this for myself in my garage.
I do it for fun.
I don't know if I'm good enough for a shop. I've never worked with anybody else.
It's a different dynamic,
So I ended up going to the shop, Classic Car Studio. They gave me my first chance, and we blew up. We're here today with contending cars on the floor. Been building and fabbing and designing and everything for them guys ever since. And it's been working for us like no tomorrow. This year has been a crazy year for us. We got 2 Street Machine of the Year awards for the same car in the same year.
Oh, wow.
That was the Charger,
68
right?
Charger.
Yeah.
68 Charger. We just did last year the big crew cab Ford dually truck.
Right.
We got a build list and a win list that I thought we would never be, you know, and I
cool.
you know, almost want to tear up like when they call our name for the big win on these floors with these big builders. I'm like, I never thought I would be here.
Nice.
You know? Never thought I would be here.
No, that's cool, and it's I'm sure it's also then satisfying too that you're able to, the creativity that you have, the vision that you have, or the love that you have, you're able to have the customers to allow you to do that and see, have it put out there and have your spin on things put out there.
It's super cool, man, and it's super cool. It's fun. You know, we have tech schools and stuff come into the shop.
That's
and all
good
the
that
time.
you guys are giving back.
And I try to encourage those guys to keep this stuff alive. You know, it's like if you guys are watching that are interested in metal fabbing or whatever, my biggest saying that I tell everybody is you got to have your first piece before you get to your best piece.
That's true.
Right?
It's true.
So you got to start somewhere. You know, my brother, he don't do any of this. He makes babies and builds families, and that's his thing, and he's a great dad. But I tell him, I said, man, you can do this. You know, I taught myself, you can do this.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I had another old guy. These old guys are wise. I hope I'm wise when I'm an old guy. He came in the shop, and he was in awe of the work, you know, and he's high-fiving me and patting my back and everything. And I kind of mentioned him that, you know. I said, I feel like anybody can do this. They just got to have the heart to make themselves want to do it.
Yeah. You just got to keep pushing on.
And he broke it down for me. He said, you know, what you're calling talent is skill.
Yeah.
He goes, what I see in your talent is your vision to see this and what it needs and what to do to
it's
make
just learning how to make your vision in your head turn it into something.
He set me back. I said, I never thought of it that way. I just thought, you know, I'm making this with my hands. That's my talent. It's what everybody keeps telling me, right?
Well, and that's what, sorry to cut you off, a lot of artists and stuff can kind of touch anything because it's all just about learning the process to get your vision out there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's super cool. And, you know, then the TV stuff, we had that TV line in our life, and it put our face and name and made us fans out there. So then it's super cool to talk and meet and greet everybody, and everybody looks at that same thing differently.
Right.
And that's so amazing to me. And that thing for me a lot of times is the car we brought to the show or the TV show that we were on. Like all them different eyes watch the TV show, but everybody that runs into me and meets me want to talk about a different part of it. It's never two people talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool. That is really cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to mention or promote or people to check out online, anything like that?
Or wait. Let's even back up. How do we get a hold of Classic Car Studio? Like, if we want to look at more stuff.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to check out Classic Car Studio, there's classiccarstudio.com.
Okay.
There's Classic Car Studio on Instagram. And you can also, we're not doing TV anymore. We have so many people still asking for it. We have Classic Car Studio YouTube channel.
Good.
Subscribe onto that. You can see all of our builds. We got a full-time YouTube guy. He's filming every day, 40 hours a week. He tries to drop videos on Sunday nights and Wednesdays. There's a science to all of that, but I'm not no techno dude. He's got that down pat. It's really working well for us, and it's very behind the scenes on what we're doing in the shop. Very cool. He's with me every day on the metal work, and if I'm doing the same thing, if I'm English wheeling for 2 or 3 days, he kind of gets mad at me. He's like, dude, I've already got this. And I'm like, I got to go through these steps.
Yeah, sorry.
So then he goes and finds the upholstery or whatever. Because we are all in-house. So it's almost crazy. There's something for everybody in our videos.
Well, that's cool.
If you like metal fab, you like paint, you like mechanics or upholstery, if you're in the car industry and you want to watch car videos, we have them for
That's
you.
rad.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
Yep. Nice to meet you.
And
we'll
wish you guys the best and also a safe trip home, and we'll catch up with you at maybe SEMA.
All right.